Hello class 10 students. In the last class you have studied the first part of the chapter acid, bases and salts, and in that we were studying about acids. So let us have a quick recapitulation of what we have studied. So we had studied that acids are found in all the sour things which are leaving also spot on the surface. They are corrosive in nature, conduct electricity, neutralize basic solution and turn blue litmus to red. So these are a few basic properties of an acid. Now then we have studied scientific approach when Liebig said that all the acids have hydrogen atoms in them, and when treated with metals they used to liberate hydrogen gas. Now, this was further identified by studying the composition of certain acids. So all the acids used to have one hydrogen in them, that proved to Liebig's concept. Then Arrhenius was the scientist who tried to find more about the acids, and he found that it was hydronium ion which was produced as a result of dissociation of acid, and a hydrogen ion which was produced, it used to react with water to form hydronium ions. Then we have studied different classification of acids. First was on the basis of origin, mineral acids and organic acids, then a few examples. Then on the basis of strength, acid was of two types. One was strong, one was weak. Strong acid was used to dissociate completely, and weak was being dissociated comparatively up to less than below 30%. Then on the basis of basicity, we have studied monobasic, di, tri, tetrabasic acids. It was based on number of hydrogen atoms which were replaceable. Then last classification was on the basis of concentration. More amount of acid used to be concentrated acid, and less amount of acid and more amount of water used to be a diluted acid. This was all about basic classification of acids. Now today we are going to study properties of acid. So here first we are going to start with physical properties. The physical state of most of the acids is solid or liquid. If you have seen at home some tartaric acid and citric acid, this we use in cooking, which are solid. But if you have seen in the laboratory or the acid used for cleaning purpose, that is liquid in nature. Here one thing needs to be clarified, that we must have studied that HCl is a gas, hydrogen chloride is a gas. So in the gaseous form it is not behaving as an acid until some amount of moisture is applied. So the moment hydrogen chloride gas dissolves in the water, makes aqueous solutions, and then only it acts as an acid. Second, acids are so to taste. They are highly corrosive, means they can burn or damage color of the skin. If by chance you have happened to be in the lab, HCl and nitric acid, HCl causes quite a itching kind of sensation, and nitric acid turns your skin yellow. So this is just because acids are very reactive, and whatever surface they come in contact with, they reacted, and some of the amount of the surfaces decomposed or reacted, so it is destroyed somehow. That is the nature of acids. Third one, next one is they conduct electricity in aqueous solution. So what happens is, because most of the acids liberate H plus ions, so the moment hydrogen ion is there, its counterpart is also produced in the acid. The moment there are two different ions present in the solution, it will be able to conduct charges, conduct electricity, and that is why the solution becomes conductor of electricity. Then one very common identification of the acid is they turn color of blue litmus solution or litmus paper to red. These are two different things. Let us not get confused. Litmus paper is a small strip which is moistened before carrying out the experiment, and litmus solution is a general liquid which can be stored in bottles. Now we come to a very important part of the chapter, that is chemical properties of acids. Now in this part we are going to study how acids react with different substances And what are the products formed? Because chemical property means existing substance converts into something new which was not initially present. So chemical properties of acids are divided into various categories. The first property which we have to study is with active metals. Now you know active metals react very vigorously. So if we are talking about very active metals, sodium, potassium, etc., so we do not conduct their reaction with acids as they may explode. Rather, some less active metals like zinc is allowed to be treated with acid. So with most of the acids, zinc liberates hydrogen gas. Now as a rule, whenever acids react with metal, they form a salt and liberate hydrogen gas. So this is one reaction which you have studied in preparation of hydrogen also. The second equation which we have studied very commonly in junior classes, that is iron reacts with sulfuric acid. Now there is one observation which we may remember, whenever an iron nail is put into sulfuric acid solution, slowly what happens, sulfuric acid which was initially colorless, it turns to become light green, and iron nail or iron scrap, whatever we have put it in the acid solution, that starts getting dissolved. At the same time, we can see small bubbles of hydrogen coming out. So these bubbles of hydrogen, they simply get burst on the surface, and if we want to test out hydrogen, what we do is we just bring a burning matchstick and hydrogen gas starts burning with a pop sound. That is identification that gas coming out as a result of reaction is hydrogen gas only. Next is how acids react with bases. Now these bases are the compounds which have hydroxyl ions in them, and whenever acid and base react, they destroy each other's activity or they change both their properties mutually. Now as a result, new thing which is formed is called salt along with water. So reaction of acid with base to form salt and water is called its neutralization reaction. One very common example of this reaction is when hydrochloric acid reacts with sodium hydroxide, it forms sodium chloride and water. Another case, when you are using a dibasic acid H2SO4, it will react with sodium hydroxide again and form sodium sulfate and water. This reaction is not balanced in this case, so you may try to always balance the equations and practice writing it that way only. Now in the similar manner, next equation, nitric acid is treated with calcium hydroxide. Now here you may note down the name of calcium hydroxide. It may be lime water, it may be slaked lime, or calcium hydroxide as it is written. In all the cases, reaction will remain the same, and you see nitrate ion is combining with calcium ion, and since valency of calcium is 2, so we need 2 nitrate ions to combine with 1 calcium. Now formula of the salt formed is CaNO3 whole twice, 2 nitrates combined with 1 calcium. So for balancing the equation, we need 2 nitric acid molecules. As a result, 2 water molecules are also formed. So this reaction is also an example of neutralization reaction. Now what we are going to study, that is very interesting part of the acid properties, that acids are generally used to identify the salt which we are experimenting with, and this property is most commonly used even in our daily life, in the kitchen or in the daily cleaning purpose. everywhere these reactions are used. So basically, these reactions are divided into two parts. One is when reaction with dilute acid is performed. So here you can see there are four types of salts taken into consideration. Now for each kind of salt, we observe a different thing, a different product is formed, or each will give you a different observation. So what we observe is very very important to identify what kind of salt we have taken. Like you have taken any salt and treated it with diluted acid, maybe hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid. Generally that is what we use. So what we see is effervescence, and effervescence means some gas is coming out with lots of bubbles, and suddenly it is coming out of the liquid in form of a fizz. That observation is called effervescence. And gas coming out is carbon dioxide. Now how do we know that the gas is carbon dioxide? What happens is, when this gas which is coming out, it is allowed to come in contact with a burning matchstick, the matchstick extinguishes. It means the gas is not helpful in burning. So if there is any salt and you are treating with acid and you see effervescence and gas is extinguishing the matchstick, you immediately conclude that the salt must be some carbonate. It may be magnesium carbonate, it may be sodium carbonate, but what is confirmed is salt is going to be a carbonate. The very similar observation comes with bicarbonate salts as well. The moment you add salt to the dilute acid, carbon dioxide gas comes out in form of effervescence, and you come to know, yes, this can be carbonate or bicarbonate. Third one, which is very very useful in a lab, if you happen to go to chemistry lab sometimes, there is one common foul smell always present. And when your seniors are working there, you can see some how they are working with the foul smell. What is that foul smell all about? Actually, it is the H2S gas which is used during qualitative analysis, and this gas has a very specific smell of rotten eggs. So from where is this smell coming out? Actually, what we do in the lab is we take some sulfide salt and treat it with dilute acid. So as a result, what you can predict is H2S gas comes out. And how do we identify that the gas is coming out? We just smell the rotten eggs there. Now there is one more thing, which is name you can simply confuse sometimes, but when we will study the formula, it is quite varied. Sulfide and sulfite. Now what is the sulfite? Sulfite is salt of sulfurous acid, that is H2SO3, and when it is treated with any dilute acid, it produces a different kind of smell. The smell can be identified with that of burning crackers, or we call it burning sulfur. So the gas which is coming out now is sulfur dioxide. So make sure when it is sulfide, gas coming out is having rotten egg smell and it is H2S. But when you are taking sulfite, gas coming out is sulfur dioxide and it is having burning sulfur smell. So these were four very common and very important observations which we use in various purposes. Now the next type of reactions which we have to study is reaction of metal salts with the concentrated acids. Now here there is one special property, that there are certain salts which do not show any reaction on treatment with diluted acids. So now when you are adding dilute acid, you won't get any observation. But the moment you take concentrated acids, then only these salts react. and they will give you certain observations. So this is how also we can identify that if we have taken the salt and treated with dilute acid and it is not reacting, it means it must not be belonging to the category earlier. It must not be carbonate, bicarbonate, sulfide or sulfide. It must be belonging to the category which we are going to study now. That is chlorides, nitrates, sulfates or a few other nitrates. Now, first one, very common thing is when chlorides are treated with concentrated acids. So they produce a pungent smelling gas which is hydrogen chloride gas. Same way, when nitrates are treated with concentrated acid, they produce colorless vapors if your nitrate is sodium or potassium nitrate. So these vapors are again having some itching sensation, but they can be identified by their characteristic smell. Next one is if any other metal nitrate except sodium and potassium is treated with concentrated acid. You see very peculiar observation. A light brown colored gas suddenly evaporates out or it is produced as a result of reaction. So here concentrated acids on treatment with metal nitrates, they produce nitrogen dioxide NO2 gas which is light brown in color. Now there is another very interesting fact that sulfates do not get decomposed by any of the acids, be it dilute or a concentrated acid. So if you have a salt which is not reacting with either dilute or concentrated acid, you can easily conclude it is belonging to the category sulfate. Now all these reactions, this is just the observation we have studied. We have to keep practicing writing the equations as well. So first one is we have taken sodium bicarbonate and treated it with dilute hydrochloric acid. So if you wish, you can try writing out this. Here sodium bicarbonate is sodium NaHCO3. It is being treated with HCl, gives NaCl, carbon dioxide gas is coming out and production of water. Now here CO2 gas production should be represented with an arrow which is upwards. So you know upward arrow means production of a gas. So in this equation, while you will be writing in your notebook, you will put an upward arrow in front of CO2, beside CO2. Next reaction which we have to study, that is reaction of a carbonate with dilute sulfuric acid. Now we are taking the very general calcium carbonate. Now for calcium carbonate, you may not be directly asked to write it. Rather, you may be asked to write the reaction with chalk or the marble. See, both these things are chemically same. That is calcium carbonate. And reaction also goes the same. Calcium sulfate is formed with liberation of carbon dioxide and water. Now if you have taken a sulfide, remember which gas we were talking about? Yes, that was the gas formed in the laboratory. So ferrous sulfide is FeS. Ferrous means iron with the lower valency, that is 2. Sulfide, only sulfur as an ion. It is also bivalent. And with hydrochloric acid, the gas produced is H2S, hydrogen sulfide, which is having rotten eggs smell. Now sodium sulfite, must be putting attention to the spelling which has been written. Spelling difference may be quite small, but formula is very different. So here sodium sulfite has formula Na2SO3, and when it is treated with sulfuric acid or hydrochloric acid, in any of the cases you will get the salt NaCl with HCl, sulfur dioxide gas and H2O. If you have taken sulfuric acid, it will form sodium sulfate Na2SO4 and sulfur dioxide and water. So this is how you are going to write a few reactions. Now reactions with concentrated acids need to be studied. So first one is when sodium chloride is treated with concentrated sulfuric acid. It is a simple decomposition. Sodium sulfate is formed, ions exchanged, and HCl gas is formed. If you have taken potassium nitrate and treated with hydrochloric acid, you see KCl, chloride ion comes with potassium and nitrate goes with hydrogen. Nitric acid vapors are formed. Copper nitrate is treated with concentrated sulfuric acid. Now you see this is some other nitrate other than potassium. So it will react in a different manner with the liberation of nitrogen dioxide gas. Now here do we remember what is the color of the nitrogen dioxide gas formed? Yes, it used to be light brown. So we can write a balanced equation for the reaction, and remember a very interesting color change is also observed here. When you see copper nitrate is light blue in color, but as sulfuric acid is added, color changes to a brighter blue. That is due to formation of copper sulfate along with liberation of light brown colored nitrogen dioxide gas. So that was all about major reactions to be studied in the chapter. Now in the given chart there are a few interesting acids which are used in our daily life. One of them is tartaric acid. Nowadays, since we all are at home and a lot of baking is going on, so the acid used is tartaric acid. At the same time, at times citric acid is also used for baking purpose. So you may ask, what is the use of acid in baking powder? See, during baking you add some sodium carbonate, and right now we have studied that carbonate on reacting with acid produces carbon dioxide. So that carbon dioxide when it comes out, it causes the fluffiness, the sponge in the substance which is being baked. Next one is carbonic acid. Nowadays the cold drinks which we consume, they have also the tangy fizzy taste. This is due to presence of carbonic acid in them. Then vinegar, which contains acetic acid. Actually the name of acetic acid has been originated from the term acetus only. Acetus used to mean vinegar. So that is why acid present in vinegar is called acetic acid. Then benzoic acid. If you have seen wrappers of certain food items like biscuits or jams, jellies, you must be studying some potassium benzoate there. So that is a derivative of benzoic acid. So now we can remember benzoic acid is used as a food preservative. Then one very common feature, you may ask how an acid can be used for eye wash. But this is one acid, boric acid, which is very useful for eye wash or killing the germs in eye, because it is very mild and its effect is really soothing and it removes all the burning sensation. That is why it is used for eye wash, and it is also used in antiseptic. It kills the germs without harming skin. Then oxalic acid is used to remove ink stains. Then nitric acid used for cleaning toilets, washrooms, etc. HCl used for metal surface cleaning, and for fertilizers. Now, what are fertilizers? It is the substance used by farmers to increase the growth of crops in the fields. So, phosphoric acid is one of the acids which is used as fertilizers. So, this was all about acids, what we have to study in the chapter. Go through the things very well, do the assignment reactions, and if you feel any difficulty, you can always ask it in the comment box or on the WhatsApp